guys, into configurations, and today we are going to do the comparison between the two most attractive smartphones in the 9,000 price range, the Huawei Honor 4C and the Asus Zenfone 5. And we have both these devices here, and we will be comparing these devices on the basis of design, display, build quality, performance, camera performance, and web browsing, and the battery backup. So we'll be seeing all these things in detail, and we'll be showing you which one is the best suited for you. Let's start with the design aspect. So you could see both devices have 5-inch 720p display, but obviously the Huawei Honor 4C is much more compact compared to this to the Asus Zenfone 5. You could see it's much more compact. And if you just consider the thickness of the device, the Huawei Honor 4C only has a thickness of 8.8 mm, while the Asus Zenfone 5 has thickness of 10.3 mm. So if you just compare that, you could see it is much more thicker than the Huawei Honor 4C. And if you consider the weight of the two devices, I must say the Asus Zenfone 5 leads because it has only 145 gram weight, but the Huawei Honor 4C weighs around 162 grams. But if you're considering the fact that this Huawei Honor 4C is having 2550 mAh battery, which is 500 mAh greater than the Zenfone 5, that weight is justifiable. But overall, considering the design aspect, I must say both devices are really good in this price range. And if you compare the overall build quality, the both devices are really great. And I have actually having the red version or red variant of the Zenfone 5, which obviously looks much better. But if I had a black variant here, then I must say the Huawei Honor 4C will take the lead in the case of the premiumness, because it looks much more textured back panel, and this the cover that they provided on the camera lens with metallic casing, so that looks pretty awesome. And if you just look at the overall build quality, I must say both devices are really great. And considering the protection, you can see the Asus Zenfone 5 has Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection, while the Huawei Honor 4C has no protection on the front. So that there is a very difficult tight competition between these two devices. So we can't really fix which is the best in the case of design. The Asus Zenfone 5 has its own merits, while the Huawei Honor 4C has its own merits. So I would say it's again the personal matter. If you just look at the Zenfone 5, the front panel of Zenfone 5 is much more premium looking than the Huawei Honor 4C. With this concentric circle pattern below, it looks much more a premium device. While the Huawei is also looking pretty okay with the front panel, but the back panel they have done a lot of work. So there is a little difference in the aspects, but I must say both devices are pretty nice in the case of design. So let me just turn on the device and show you what are things inside it. So I have just unlocked the device. So you can see both devices are unlocked, and the UI of the both devices are very much customized. Both are based on KitKat, and both offers a very different array of customizations and a very customized UI. You could see the both devices are very customized UI. They are not stock Android, so the both have a very user-friendly UI also. Now coming to the first, let me just go into the dialer of both these devices, and let me show you that. So if I go into the dialer, you could see the both devices are very customized dialer, and both are dual SIM, and you could see the both devices doesn't offer the video calling from the dialer. So that is the first point I would like to say. So both devices are equal in that sense. And if you just go into the messaging, and let me just enter a message here. See, I'm gonna text you. You could see this is the keypad of Zenfone 5, and this is the keypad of Huawei Honor 4C, and both are pretty customized one, and both support Shift key. So overall, these customizations and everything else, both devices have different aspects, and both are good in different ways. So I can't really say which is the best in UI, but I feel the customizations are much more in the Huawei in the Zenfone 5. So both are pretty nice in the case of UI. So let us go into the gallery and check out the image quality of both devices. So let me just go into the gallery first. So now we have some test images here. So you can see I have taken the same image in both devices. And if you compare the image quality of both devices, you could see the Huawei Honor 4C is having a bright display, while the Zenfone 5 is having the more colorful display, I would say. So there is much more colors compared to the Huawei Honor 4C. So but the Huawei Honor 4C is much more brighter. So actually have set to the moderate brightness in both devices. But if you increase the brightness to the maximum, you could notice that Huawei Honor 4C is much more brighter, while the Zenfone 5 is much more colorful. And if you just look at the responsiveness of the display, you could say it's very responsive. Both devices are very responsive, but I would say both devices are very responsive. So in that aspect, both are very equal. So let me just go into the 1080p and 720p video playback in both these devices. So let me just take a 720p video here. So you could see I'm gonna play the video, and both devices are able to play it without any buffering. So you could say it's very smooth. There is no issues or no buffering in video playback. So 720p video playback is but very smooth in both devices. So there is no issues. The same thing is happen when you play a 1080p video. There is no issues in 1080p video also. So if you just play both devices 1080p video, you could see there is no issues, no buffering in the 1080p video also. They are very smooth. So if you just see, you can skip through any point in the video and it doesn't have any buffering time. So I must say the video playback in both these devices is really awesome, and both are equal in that sense also. Now coming to the other things that I would like to say is the performance aspect of the device. Let us go into the benchmark and see which is the best in the case of performance. So let's go into the Antutu benchmark first. So you could see I have opened the Antutu benchmark in both devices. So you could see what I noticed is that both devices have 2 GB of RAM and 8 GB of internal memory, and both have 1.2 GHz clocked processor, but this is actually having octa-core Kirin 620 processor, while the Asus Zenfone 5 is having 1.2 dual core. It's a 2520 processor. So let us just compare it with the benchmark testing. So I have already run the benchmark, so I don't need to do it again. I can just show you the scores obtained. So you could see the Huawei Honor 4C has obtained a score of 29,167, which is a very high score compared to what we have got from the Zenfone 5. That is 17,987 is what we got. That obvious that the Zenfone 5 is only having a dual core processor, that is 1.2 GHz clocked dual core processor, which is a 2520 with 2 GB of RAM, while the Huawei Honor 4C is having octa-core processor, that is 1.2 GHz octa-core processor. So obviously the performance will be much better. And if you compare the graphics card of this device, you could see it is the Huawei Honor 4C is having Mali 450 GPU, while the Zenfone 5 is having the PowerVR STX 544 MP2 GPU. So that's pretty much about it. So let us just go back and check out the camera performance of both these devices. So before that, let me just go into the Ninamark 2 benchmark and show you the benchmark scores obtained in these devices. So you could see the very close benchmark scores. The Huawei Honor 4C has got 61.1 FPS, while Asus Zenfone 5 has got about 60.4 FPS. So that's very close scores, and I can't expect a device with dual core perform such a well comparison with the Huawei Honor 4C with octa-core processor. So that's really awesome. And let's go into the CPU set and check out the features they have provided inside the device. So you could see it has got the Huawei Honor 4C has got octa-core processor, which is clocked at 1.20 GHz with Mali 450 MP2 GPU. So let me just go to the sensors and see how the device, what are the sensors that they provided in both devices. So you could see the Huawei Honor 4C is obviously better in the case of sensors like light, proximity, magnetic field, orientation sensor, which is like gyroscope sensor. So the device does have gyroscope. That's actually added advantage over the Zenfone 5, which doesn't have it. So for gaming and navigation, I think the Huawei Honor 4C is much more better compared to Zenfone 5. And if you just go to other things like orientation sensor, light sensor, proximity sensor, and visual orientation sensor, these are the sensors in the Zenfone 5, but you could surely see that Huawei Honor 4C has much more sensors compared to Zenfone 5. So that's pretty much about it. So let's go back and check out the camera quality of both these devices. So let me just first go into the camera of Huawei Honor 4C, and I'm going to take an image here. You can see I have some samples here. Let me just focus it and take an image. This is what I got from the Huawei Honor 4C. So let me just take the same camera angle from the Zenfone. So yeah, okay, now let me just turn off the flash first. Okay, so now I'm going to focus it. So you can see I have captured the image on both devices, and if you compare the image quality that obtained from both, you could see both have a very different aspect. The Zenfone 5 is having, you could see it's having a brighter image rendered in the Zenfone 5, while the Huawei Honor 4C has having much darker image rendered. So you could say here, but comparing these two images, you could see the Huawei Honor 4C has having a little darker image with which is a little low on details, but Zenfone 5 is having a brighter image which is actually having a lot of details. But if you compare the quality of the image, you could see the Zenfone 5 is having a little bit grainier image than the Huawei Honor 4C. So that is a little bit disappointing. But considering the fact that the Huawei Honor 4C has 13 megapixel camera, while the Zenfone 5 is having only 8 megapixel camera, I must say this is a pretty nice quality from Zenfone 5. Let us go back and let's check out the customizations in both these devices. So if you just check out the voice of the Zenfone 5, I must say it is much more customized than the Huawei Honor 4C. So you could see there's a lot of options provided in the Zenfone 5, like auto time rewind, HDR, panorama, night mode, selfie mode, which automatically takes selfie when it detects a number of faces, and you can actually set the number of faces you want to be detected, and once it detected, the camera will automatically capture that image without you to having to press the button. So there is a lot of customizations they have provided in the Zenfone 5. But compared to that, the customizations in the Huawei Honor 4C is not that much. There is not much customization that you could see in the Huawei Honor 4C, but they have some of customization which is really great. And if you just go in the beauty mode, the Huawei Honor 4C is having a beauty mode which is combined, and we can't really categorize into the different effects. So you have a very combined beauty mode. You can actually increase the beauty mode in a combined way. You can't really categorize into cheek thickening or skin whitening, everything like that. But the Zenfone 5 offers that flexibility. You can actually adjust each effects as you want. You can actually slim the chin, and you can actually increase the skin tone. There's a lot of flexibility offered in the Zen UI, which is not there in the Huawei Honor 4C. But the camera quality of these devices, I must say the Huawei Honor 4C is a little bit better when you compare the overall quality. So if you just go in the front camera, you could see this Huawei Honor 4C provides a much more warmer image quality, while the Zenfone 5 is actually having a little bit that it's not that much warm, while the Huawei Honor 4C offers a warmer image. And if you just look at you could see the Zenfone 5 supports face detection and touch focus. So there's a lot more options available in Zenfone 5, while the Huawei Honor 4C is a fixed focus camera, and it can only capture images by touch, while the Zenfone 5 offers touch focus, autofocus. I must say the camera quality, the Huawei Honor 4C might be better, but in the case of customizations, I would say the Zenfone 5 is better. So that's pretty much about the camera quality. So let me just go into the browsing experience of both these devices. So let me just take the browsers here. So I'm gonna place this on the table, and let me show you that. This is actually the browser of the Honor 4C, and this is actually the browser of the Zenfone 5. So let us start the browser at the same time. So ready, 1 2 3 start. So I have actually loaded the same pages on both devices. So you could see both are loading the same page, and you could see this the Huawei Honor 4C is already loaded the ads and everything, and it's already loaded almost part of this website. So our website, so that's really nice, while the Zenfone 5 is still loading the contents. So you could see, but if you just compare the smoothness of both, I must say Zenfone 5 is much more responsive in the case of browsing. And sometimes the Huawei Honor 4C has a little jittery output, but while the Zenfone 5 is almost smooth in every aspect. So that's about it. And if you just compare the transition effect that we have provided on the website, you could see both have the same issue. It's not that smooth. I have only seen Zenfone 2 having a smooth transition with our effects, but both devices have the same jittery feel when you load the transition. So that's pretty much about the browsing. So both are almost equal, but Zenfone 5 is a little bit slower in loading contents, while Huawei Honor 4C is much more faster in loading contents, but it's not that smooth in the case of pin zooming, while the Zenfone 5 is ultra smooth in the case of pin zooming. So that's pretty much about it. And let us go back and check out other important thing in both these devices. So let us go into the basics, like the RAM and internal memory. So let me just take settings in both these devices, and if you just go into the storage, you could see Both devices have 8 GB of internal memory, while this Huawei Honor 4C only has 3.65 GB free, while the Zenfone 5 is having 4.91 GB free. So you are getting almost 1 GB extra in the Zenfone 5, but the UI experience is also really great in both these devices. So the customizations are really great, but it's not taking that much, but you will get a little bit more amount of internal memory in Zenfone 5. So let us go into the RAM. Here you could see the apps, and let me just go into the you won't get it in the Huawei. You have to just minimize it, and you have to press and hold this device to get the amount of RAM. So you could see 1.3 GB is free out of 1.85 GB. While the Zenfone 5 is only having 576 MB free. That's because I am actually using this Zenfone 5 as my primary device for a long time, and I have installed a lot of apps in this device. That's why it's having such a low internal memory, but obviously it will have about 1.2 GB. The same RAM consumption is there in both these devices. So that's pretty much about what we have started off. And now let's go to the battery. Let's talk about the battery backup of both these devices. And I must say the Zenfone 5 is not that great in the case of battery backup, but the Huawei Honor 4C is so good in the case of battery backup. We have already done detailed battery review of this device, and I must say the Huawei Honor 4C is better in the case of battery backup. It has got 2550 milliamp hour battery, and it performs really well in the case of the real-time battery backup. So in the case of battery backup, I must say the Huawei Honor 4C is better. So that's pretty much about it. And now comparing both these devices, I must say the performance, in the case of performance, the Huawei Honor 4C is the winner. We have seen the benchmark scores are really high, and we have already seen the Antutu benchmarks and the Ninamark 2 benchmarks. Both were really high in the case of Huawei Honor 4C, while the Zenfone 5 is very decent for this specifications. You could see it's having only 1.2 GHz dual core processor, but it is able to match up in the Ninamark 2 scores. So you have already seen 60.1 FPS. That's what the score of Zenfone 5. So it is actually copying up with the Huawei Honor 4C really well, even if it's having dual core processor. Now coming to the second thing is the battery. If we consider the battery aspect, as I already pointed out, the Huawei Honor 4C is the winner. And if you consider the Zenfone 5, the positives of Zenfone 5 over the Huawei Honor 4C, I must say the camera is the first thing. The camera, even if the camera quality might not be that good as this Huawei Honor 4C, but the camera customizations are really great, and we have already seen both have different aspect. The Zenfone 5 provides a much brighter display, much brighter image, while the Huawei Honor 4C is having a little darker image. So that reduces a lot of grains, and seems to be much better in the case of quality. But considering the Zenfone 5 is having an 8 megapixel camera, this is really great. And the second thing which I actually noticed about Zenfone 5 is display quality, which is really excellent compared to the Honor 4C. You could already see here the Honor 4C is having a little bit less in colors, but Zenfone 5 is having a very colorful display, while the Huawei Honor 4 is a little bit brighter than Zenfone 5. Now coming to the final thing about this devices is the UI. I must say the UI of this device are really great in both these devices. Both have different aspects. In the case of UI, the Zenfone and the Huawei Honor 4C having a very different aspects. We have done an in-depth review of the Huawei Honor 4C, and if you want, you can just check out that video also, which will give you much more in-depth about the customization provided on there. But we can't really do all these things in this review. So as a final word, I would say if you are not a high-end gamer, or you are not that much into the gaming, and if you don't need that much performance, the Zenfone 5 should fit your need, and it offers a very good UI, a very good camera with a lot of customizations. But if you are a gamer and if you need a lot of performance out of your device, then the Huawei Honor 4C is the answer. It will deliver you every bit of it. You will have a very high performance from this device. You could really play any games, any high-end games in this device. So in that aspect, the Huawei Honor 4C is the winner. And now coming to the camera, I must say both devices have a very good camera, and again it depends which one to choose. If you want customizations, you have to choose Zenfone 5, but if you have a much more quality images, I would suggest Huawei Honor 4C, since it's having 13 megapixel camera. But if you consider the front camera, the Zenfone 5 is having better camera. Even if it's 2 megapixel, it supports touch focus and autofocus. So there's a lot of aspects, so I can't really figure out which is the best in this aspect, but it all depends on your requirement. That is pretty much about the comparison video of this Zenfone 5 and Huawei Honor 4C. And thanks for watching this video, and if you like this video, please hit like and stay subscribed. Thank you.